Now, the idea of being sovereign is that you are standing in the law. The law is on your side. It means you must follow the law, and you've got a clear conscience. You know that, yes, I have been following the law. And it also means that you are the one that creates the law. You can create it. For example, in your house, your space. You can say, this is my law in my house. That's the idea of being sovereign. For example, take your shoes off when you come in. That's your law. And your sons and daughters must follow your law until they grow up and become sovereign themselves. Now, mostly this is fine. This is obvious. You know, we all respect each other. But sometimes criminals might come to your house, try to break in. Criminals might want to attack you. And you're entitled to defend yourself because you are standing in the law. And you might have scammers, you know, people trying to trick you, deceive you. They come to your door, come to your face, and you're allowed to defend yourself from them. Turn them away. No, go away. Because you are standing in the law. You know you are, and that other person is breaking the law onto you. But in reality, of course, mostly this is going to happen to us by the state. The state is the biggest bully, the biggest criminal that's going to come to your door, come to your face. And you have to deal with that. But the sovereign knows, I am standing in law. I'm on the right side here. And these guys are trying to break the law onto me. And they're not allowed to do that. I'm entitled to defend myself. So how do we defend ourselves against the state? This is tricky. Now, you can study the law, study all the legal system so you understand what's going on. And you can do that. I recommend the Sovereign Project. These guys got all the details, researched it in great detail. But they also got an app now, so you can subscribe to their app, and that will give you information. For example, it'll come up on your phone so you know what to say when the authorities come to your door. And you can film it, live stream it. So that's very useful. But I want to give you some ideas now, the basic principle of it. Now, the basic principle is, if you are standing in law, you make the law, you are the one that is asking the questions. You are the judge. You see, when you go to court, the judge asks you questions and you have to answer. But if you're the judge, you're the one asking the questions. And this is how the state tricks us. The state has assumed a position of authority. They have assumed the position of the law. And they presume you to be guilty. You're the one breaking the law. They presume it. So that's not fair. And they presume it by asking you questions. If you answer the question, you are assuming the submissive position. It's quite deep. If you look at language, you can see it. Language is itself an energy. A movement of energy between us. Exchange of information. But feelings, we also express feelings through language. So you will have aggressive language and passive language. And I mean on a fundamental level, you know, you can say things aggressively with emotion, you know, insulting language. But the principle of language, you will have aggressive and passive, submissive. Aggressive means asking questions. Who are you? That's quite aggressive. That's a direct energy coming towards me. And I have to answer now. I have to respond. It's forcing me to respond. Puts me in a defensive position. So now if I answer the question, I have assumed the defensive position. Oh, my name is Toby. Now, in law, that also is, the prosecutor and the defender. The prosecution asks you questions and you've got to answer. So when they ask you questions, they're assuming the dominant position, aggressive. But if you answer the questions, you have accepted the submissive position. So what you have to do, if you are standing in law, you are the judge, you are the one asking the questions. So that's the first thing we could do, is only ask questions. Don't give any answers. So you see, if they ask you, what's your name? You say, well, what's this about? No, we need your name. Why do you need my name? Has a crime been committed? Are you saying I have committed a crime? Who says I've committed a crime? Where's the victim? Who's the victim that says I committed a crime? I just ask questions. And you could do it, very friendly. You don't have to be aggressive. Like I said, what's your name? Well, what's this about? And if you go to court, same thing. If you go to court, what do you say? How do you present yourself in court? Even that could be the same thing. You just ask questions. We say, where am I? What is this place? Is this a court? And they'll say, yes, it's a magistrate's court. Where's the jury? Is there not a jury in court? Where is the jury? But there's no jury here. So is this a court? No, it's a magistrate's court. Does a court not have to have a jury? If there is, or you could say, what language are we speaking? What's your name, sir? What language are we speaking? Because they're speaking legalese. Now, I should say that I have never been to court. I've never been in trouble with the authorities or the security forces, and I intend to keep it that way. It's very difficult, very dangerous if you actually get involved with this. You've got to know what you're doing. But I still think about it, and I still wonder, and I still believe that if you knew enough about real law, and that's quite simple, you should know how to get out of it. You should be able to. And it's just using this simple principle, asking questions. You don't answer a question. You have to be very clever. Don't answer a question, but only ask them. You answer with another question. And even making statements. You've got to be very careful about making statements. If you make a statement, especially in a position of law, you must be very sure in what you're saying. But asking a question, you can still be ignorant, innocent. You can still do it in a nice way. You see, now if you make a statement, there are some statements you can make. For example, you can make the statement, I do not understand. I do not understand. It means I don't understand the language. What are you talking to me? It also means I do not stand under your authority. No, I do not accept your authority over me. And you could say that to anything. If the security forces come to you, look, I do not understand. I don't understand what is going on here. And you go to court. In court, same thing. I do not understand. And I do know there is a guy that did this. He went to court 8 times and they kept postponing it, and eventually they had to just let him go. Because all he did is he said, when he went to court, he just said, I do not understand. I require a trial by jury. And whatever they said, that's all he said. I do not understand. I require a trial by jury. And of course they have to give you that. They're supposed to give you a trial by jury. So they had to keep dismissing it until they just left it. Now he went 8 times to court, but ultimately he won. Because he was standing in the law. And he made a very simple statement that was a lawful statement. yeah, I require a trial by jury. You have to give it to me. But you see, if you go in and make a statement, I am the living man, people do this, that won't work. You have to know exactly what you're saying. You see, even this, you could say, have I committed a crime? What crime have I committed? Because you won't have committed a crime. If you're standing in law, there's no crime you have committed. They'll be demanding money from you. So then you could say, who is the victim? Who is demanding this money from me? Which living man or woman is saying I must pay that money? Who? Show me the victim. Who's the victim? Show me my accuser. Again, they have to, but there's nobody. Your accuser is the council. Well, who's the council? Is the council a living man or woman? No, it's a corporation. Who in the corporation says I owe them this money? Who? And you can also say, are you saying there's a law that is demanding money from me? Can the law compel me? No. So have I broken the law? No. So what am I doing here? But like I said, I've avoided trouble and I intend to avoid all this trouble. It's very difficult now because they do whatever they like. They don't care what you say. And they lock you up without question. So there's no chance to talk. If they don't give you a chance to ask any questions, well, you can't do anything. Now they have literally physically kidnapped you and held you against your will. Now what you have to do is sue them. You have to once you get out, you sue them. You get all their names of the people that did this to you, the real living men and women. You kidnapped me against my will and locked me up. Now I want compensation. You have to lawfully sue them. And this is ultimately self-defense with words. Just learning how to defend yourself with words. And like I said, you could do the Tai Chi way, gently, softly. If the security forces ask you, what's your name, sir? What's this about? Sorry, what's this about? I need your name, sir. Why do you need my name? Or what's your name? You could start like that. What's your name? And if they say, I am PC officer, this, that. And then, but what's your first name? Offer them, shake your hand. What's your first name? Now you've got made a real living connection with them. Now, and then you might give them your first name. You've made a connection. Now then you could say, what's this about? Okay, what capacity are you operating in? Are you enforcing a policy or are you enforcing the law? Is this the law or is this a private policy, a private corporation's policy? You can say, show me the contract. Where's the contract that I have signed that says I will do this? And of course, this is where the very word comes from, asking as king. If you're the one asking questions, you are as king. You are the king, the sovereign. You ask the questions. I'm not answering anyone else's question. I'm the one asking questions. I am the king, the sovereign. Ask king. So that's where it actually comes from. So we have to take the position of standing in law. We take our own authority. Remember, I'm entitled to defend myself. Someone is attacking me by asking questions. I defend myself by asking questions back. Offense is sometimes the best defense. And it actually always is. Even in self-defense, I know we say don't strike first, but in reality, especially if you have multiple attackers and something's going down, you've got to move fast and first. Do what you can and run as fast as you can. Strike first, because if you give them a chance, that one chance might be too much. So offense is very often the best defense. And in language, that's the case. You respond with another question. You put them on the defensive. Now they have to answer. So this is, I hope this made sense. And many of you will know a lot more about this than me and will have had personal experience of this. Like I said, you can see what other people are saying, and the Sovereign Project is the best one to study and understand all this. But if we can get the principle of what it means, I am sovereign and I stand in the law. Once you've got that idea, now everything. When they send you a piece of paper, what is this piece of paper? What are you asking me to sign? What language is this piece of paper written in? Asking questions all the time. So I hope this made sense. Again, thank you so much for listening. Please do leave me any questions or comments, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.